Hi there, I'm Juliana Carroll, and this is my sister and partner in Coffee and Tech, Lisa Jackson. Together, we are your hosts here at the Coffee Tech Talk Show, exploring anything and everything to do with work orchestration and automation. Most importantly, we're building a community of people who can share, learn, and grow together.
There are a couple things that I learned, which I think we can probably map to the current as well as going for even future, especially for trade show where physical presence is quite important. I still think that there is something you can do with the virtual and replace the physical presence, and there's something you cannot. So anything that is clearly communicating, clearly communicate what the work is, what the solution is, how things work, maybe even the research development work, and try something out that wasn't there before. I think that those ones are probably much more productive to do virtually and being alone, or in some cases. But if the topic of the work or collaboration is unclear, so for example, brainstorming, uh, I never met that person, but I want to get to know. So these are unclear, right? There's no certain objectives. The innovative thinking. I mean, you can't put these people in a box and saying, okay, from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock, virtually, you will attend meeting, but you will innovate. That's just not going to work. Innovation happens when the 3 or 4 people get together at the cafe or even drinking beers, and they just kind of start talking, and all of a sudden things click. These things are much more more frequently happening when people physically interact. So I still don't think the virtual will work. So I think a trend will be moving work that requires productivity and the collaboration that requires more clear roles and responsibility will move to virtual experience. Yet innovative thinking, brainstorming, and those one will likely require more the physical interactions. I mean, unless we get the virtual goggle as if you are actually interacting. Unless that happens, yeah.
I think that might have to happen though, because as you know, I get called in when there's a problem that requires a new solution. New solution necessarily means that you have to brainstorm, right? You have to brainstorm with the people that are experiencing the problem, and you have to brainstorm with the people that receive the outcome that is a problem, right? So that's already two sides, right? And then you need somebody that could be objective, but still a subject matter expert looking at it, and then they all need to talk together, right? So, it's very difficult not to draw.
Yeah.
Right. Like how many times, I go to your office, I draw. In my office, there's either a wall or a big giant, whiteboard. And then, and then when I'm presented with a problem and I kind of narrow it down, just like anything, you start narrowing down, then you realize you need a certain kind of solution. You attend the trade shows where the possible solutions may be, or you call people, in those areas and you invite them in so that you can brainstorm. I think that's the part where we need to, that the innovation has to happen to allow that to happen, because, new solutions and innovation is all about diverse opinion. And in order to have diversity, you need to have a lot of people in the room, diverse people in the room talking to each other, right? And maybe now innovation and brainstorming has to become intentional planning.
Yes. Yeah.
It has happened, like you say, at coffee shops and at bars, and and then you come back, oh, okay, let's talk about it some more tomorrow. Let's come to my office or conference rooms and withdraw, right? So I think we all have to figure out how to not lose that, through the digital world.
Yeah. I think, Julian, I think you are getting to one of the key points of, I don't know, lack of better than why. So when we do the virtual meeting, why? Why are we meeting? There's a purpose.
Right.
If we already set the purpose, that means people just want to achieve that purpose. So I think so far, virtual meetings and virtual interaction is a vehicle for this particular purpose, which actually put the people's mindset in that purpose box.
Right.
So, and then they would say, "Oh, that was that was a complete waste of time." And you hear this a lot because people get zoomed out. So that's actually what's preventing people to be creative. Now, for creative minds, if they come up with this innovative thinking, not at the venue where purpose is already set.
Right.
It's the kind of environment just because, you know what I mean?
Right.
So people interact just because, and then you happen to just kind of, I don't know, BSing or whatever you do, you get that. That's what you're gonna lose not doing it. So can we do that in virtual set? I don't want to say it's impossible, but I don't think it's technology. I think it's just something that we as the people, if we are using virtual experience as a way to do it, can we set up an environment where there is no purpose, but somehow set up an environment?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe you guys are already breaking grounds. Coffee Tech Talk, right? Just Coffee Talk. I didn't have a damn purpose, right? I want to chat it out.
Right. So virtual is almost have to be a destination, like to get together, right? Like
there you go.
Let's meet, let's have a date at the coffee shop, or let's meet up for a beer, at the bar, and then for no purpose other than just being together and chit-chatting together, right? From there comes, oh, what did you experience today? Oh, what do you think about that? Oh, what can we do next, and that kind of stuff. So it's almost like, yeah, you're right. It's not about technology necessarily, but it's a different mindset. Like, I gotta go get my own wine. Go meet Juno with my own wine in hand, not let's go there and wait for somebody to bring me something.
Well, there's actually a lot of that happening, right? My friends and I mean, we were to the point when we were scheduling Zoom time and we have wine together and we're talking on Zoom with, wine in hand. And there's been some tests as well, when you're doing a virtual event, the thing is we want to make it more intimate. How do you make a virtual event intimate and all of us feeling like we're in the same place? So let's say there's like 10 of us. So what they were saying was to always include, the 5 senses, that you see, the smell, the taste, touch, that kind of thing. So if everyone was to have the same type of wine or the same type of cheese, turn on a candle, and then we talk business like we, or just chit-chatting, brainstorming, it actually becomes more effective. So a lot of companies are testing those things, and it's actually, it's working because you can, even though we're through the screen, we're like, oh, did you like that wine? Oh, hey, was that cheese great? Don't you love the smell of that candle? So it feels like you're in the same, in the same area.
Yeah.
So I think that's definitely the cool part, that, things that are evolving. Well, okay, so I'm gonna ask you one more thing about virtual, and we can move on. In the events and exhibit industry, there's the there's the capital side of things where we design and we build these elaborate exhibits, as you've seen them on the trade show floor. So these are capital investments. There was a car company, as we all know, we never thought this could happen, but there's a car company right now that's actually doing that. They sell their cars online, and people are, buying it without even testing it, and they deliver it to your home.
Yeah.
And we deal a lot with Fortune 1000 corporations. That's most of our clients. You think that's something that they would be able to, to buy into? What do you think?
The short answer, I think, is yes. Even if you haven't tested, you buy that physical product and then make your transaction occur virtually without doing, a whole lot of your own vetting, physical vetting. As long as there is a good way to be able to handle the after the fact. So for example, if I have a way to be able to return my software, if I have to be able to return my the physical goods such as a car or anything else, that if something happens, I get a good customer service and ability to return, then I think I will go with that. Very similar, since we are working on, since I've been in the digital art industry and art, same thing. What we are seeing is that even those physical art, people are now making a transaction over virtual instead of going to gallery and auction house and actually seeing and physically touching the physical art. And but now they will buy this just virtually. So I think that the trend will continue, and as long as the customer service of after the fact is satisfactory to the people.
And the lineage and the provenance is trusted.
Yes, and that is a big if, right? So that yes, that car better be really come from that particular brand. The authenticity and provenance is one of the key, and not to mention if it's intangible content such as a digital content, then the rights, right? Digital rights management is the important
exclusivity, right? We still all want to be exclusive, right?
Yes.
So when you say this digital art, invest in it because you'll be one of 100 that will have it, or one of 1, or one of 10, and not one of a million. You want that exclusivity because whoever's in your bubble that do get to go to your house and you see the big old screen, I'm the only one that have that. That's why you pay to have that.
That's right. So the DRM is one of the very important enabler for all this. Yes, I'm gonna actually get back to the trade show just a little bit.
Okay.
So again, it's my subjective experience. Why do I attend? Why do I go to even trade show? It wasn't because of the decorations or even ambience and all the fancy things that trade show do. I go there for two purposes. One is to get to know the new products that I want to know. Yeah. So as long as I get that access virtually, I think I'll be fine. And in fact, I can even play with it. Because trade show, you can play with it, right? You can even give a shot at it. So, so if that's enabled through this environment, I think virtual will be what. If that's more invested, I think virtual will work. And the second reason I go there is to meet people.
Yeah.
So now how can we do that virtually? So for example, maybe if the trade is happening in the virtual environment, ability to create your own network of the people. So, provide venues where these people who jumped into this virtual experience have their own way to be able to chat, be able to exchange their contact informations, just like a trade show. If that's allowed, I would attend the virtual trade show. Definitely.
I talked about this. We spoke about this before, right, Lee? But
yes,
I go specifically, to find others like me that know stuff that I don't, but still in my same realm of things, right? So I see how they interact with each other and say, "Hey, I heard you say that. Can you talk to me a little bit more about that?" In the real world, we walk over nervous because you're like trying to talk to new people, but you still go over and you tap them or you slowly edge into their conversation and then ask the question or whatever, right? I think that's really something that the virtual trade shows makers, providers, they have to figure that out. I think if they figure that out, then people will come immediately. I think people will come and attend more of this of this virtual get-togethers.
No, Julian, I think that's a great point, because in fact it may work better than physical trade show. Because physical trade show, you got to walk over, you got to, there's a certain hesitancy, right? You don't have that here because you're hidden behind. And I actually noticed my wife, Kate, she will never attend like a podcast, but she will attend a virtual meeting to where personal, the chat is available. Right. Then she will just immediately reach out to those person and make the connection, and they will do the follow-up. Because that's the value of.
So imagine like you have virtual kind of, you know, trade shows with booth A, booth B, booth 3, and then like there's little avatars with JC or whatever, and JL, and then you see him walk around over there and like, oh, I remember, he's an expert on crypto, and he's walking over to the AI for whatever. I'm gonna follow him a little bit, see what he's interested in, right? And then, if I see you chatting with somebody, I might tap you and, put a question in your queue. You don't have to answer it right away, but you can answer it later, maybe. You know what I mean? That is very valuable.
Yes.
Yeah. That is why I go.
Now, if we get to that point, I think definitely we can sell that, to people to actually pay your usual fee. And you have all these associations that are hurting, like, how do we charge for this, right? And but it has to have that value. But I think if you're able to do that, maybe that's the way to make it really like as if it's almost real, like a simulation of an actual trade show space, right?
Yeah.
So there you go. There's the $1 million idea I just gave you.
Yeah. No, I think this is a great, in a sense that the
I want credit for that, though.
Innovative session is working.
Exactly. Over coffee. You've been doing this for a while. You're an entrepreneur. You're successful in the companies that you're doing. If people want to do what you do, what would your advice be?
Oh, I see. I think I would have probably echo what you mentioned before, Lee. It's do what you want to do. Look, it's not everybody can do what you want to do because there's other realistic factors around your life. So I will map back to what I have been. I always wanted to do like an entrepreneur type of work. That's what I wanted to do. But the truth is, I stayed at larger corporations, quasi-government for over 20 plus years. During the course of time, many of my friends say, Juno, why are you wasting your time? You should just quit and do it. I did not have guts to do it. I thought that I was risky, but now looking back, I was not a risky guy. I was a complete risk averse. I had a lot of reasons why I should not quit my day jobs. And I was thinking, you know what, I'll use my spare time to do, that's what we do, right? Moonlighting. We'll use the spare time to do what I wanted to do. But the truth is, you're just, you are in that 24-hour time, and then your mindset, you put a higher priority on your current day job that you are committed to. So, people will probably not going to experience the joy of you get to do what you want to do until you really give up what you thought that is important to you. So I thought that I may be ruining my career by jumping out of my day job, but focus on starting something brand new that no one started it off. I thought that I felt like I was cutting off my arms and legs, but it actually gives you whole another boost of the path. So, I guess if somebody would ask me, what's my advice? It's look, try it, give a shot at it. Worst thing you can do is go back to what you used to do, right? I can always go back to what I used to do.
Here's the thing, right? Allow yourself to fail, right? It's like, hopefully we all have friends with a couch and a full refrigerator. I mean, because that is the worst that can happen, right? I mean, that is our worst nightmare. But if you don't allow yourself to fail, to do what you like, right?
No, so let's talk about failure for a second. What I learned, another one that I can probably share with our audience is that patience. I think patience that actually drives the reason for potential failure than anything else. In fact, I learned that in a way, I am not exactly quote unquote Silicon Valley entrepreneur. Okay, I'm not 20 plus years old, being highly energized person. In a way, I'm like kind of old school. But it has its own value and something that other people has. So my point is that each individual have their own talent. You can't try to fit that in to some advice that people will give you and saying, well, in order to be a successful entrepreneur, this is what you must do. And part of what you must do could be like eating a cup ramen every day. No, that's not the way it should be. You should raise funds while you don't have any product, but make a great pitch deck and raise $1 million right now. No, that's not the way it could be. If you have a certain belief, carry on, be persistent, and be patient. Then it leads to a successful, the path. So that's what I would say.
Mm. Yeah, I can speak to that as well. I actually ventured off out of this industry and started an energy drink with my brothers.
There you go.
But I have to say, the energy drink was on the shelf in the Tennessee and surrounding states for 6 years. So there you go. I consider that a pretty good success, and an expensive learning experience as well.
Congratulations.
Now you know.
And like you said, you can always go back to what you're doing. I'm back in the industry that I am, but I've always loved this industry, right? And I actually believe that when you launch a product, the trade show floor is actually the best place where you could do that. That's where you grow your brand, you launch your product, and that's how you grow, period. Because that's where you meet new people, that's where you sell, that's where you continue the relationships, with your peers and your buyers. So, right. So what is next for you? What is your legacy going to be?
Oh, geez. Frankly, I did not even, I thought I had a legacy before, but I don't think I even deserve to even talk about it. For now, my next is really taking our current product and our current vision to be more real than ever. So just take it to the next level. Before initially, my goal was nothing more than just a concept to be convinced by the market. And I think we accomplished that. And after that, my goal was ability to, develop a product that we can show. Yes, we got that. And then now I wanted to launch the product to the public so the public can use it. We just got that. Now you ask me what's next. Now we want that to be usable by others and then have a public to give us feedback whether it works for them or not. If not, tell us what it is and we'll just modify. In fact, that's all I wanted to do at this point. Okay. I think the future is so vague. I think one thing that I learned here was even if I set a plan for tomorrow, it never happens that way. So yes, I do set a goal, but I do not expect that goal is just what I want to accomplish. Leave the room for maybe meeting some other goals, or leave the room for something beyond, or even maybe fail. It's okay, but I think ability to do that is in fact my goal.
Two things. One, remember that we interviewed you first. When you get busy 5 years from now, time for everybody else, so we get a follow up. But
that's a good point.
But actually, can we have a follow up and you can demo?
Yeah, sure.
And maybe in a couple weeks or so.
Yeah.
Right? We can do. Let's try out virtual demoing, right?
Sure. Yeah.
And see how that works, right?
Yeah, we can do that.
Say hello to.
That'd be great. Yeah.
Cool.
That's actually really good. That's cool. Yeah. I would love to do that. But I want to circle back with what you just said, because you mentioned before about mentorship and entrepreneurship. Being a minority in business and technology, and it's something that you wanted to give back. Can you kind of expand on that a little bit?
Yeah. So being in the corporate US, you learn a lot from the job. In any kind of environment, you learn a lot. And I did learn a lot in terms of how to become better myself and better managers and better leaders and whatnot. One thing that I learned was that there is a trend of learning a certain style of leadership, thinking that that is the only leadership that you need to access. So, for example, people, we've been hearing, and I've been hearing definitely, oh, you need to be more outspoken. Yeah, your language must be much more concise and things like that, right? Ability to speak in front of a large crowd. And look, I'm not saying that those are not important. It is actually important. You do learn that, but there's something even more important than what I thought that I missed, and then I learned hard way. And I would like to tell other people to know it, especially for minorities, is that maximize your style. I would say that's probably what I would. If you have a certain style and you are already in certain level, you got to that place because of your own leadership style worked and maximize it. I think that's more important than learn something else that thinking it's just somehow augmenting or resolving your weakness. That may actually harm the talent that you already have. So, for example, I will just be more specific about myself. I was being told as not outspoken, reserved, calm, blah blah blah, and should be able to speak out much, better. Um, and I think that there was a point where I was like turning into someone else. And when I started to hear my team members, "Hey, Juno, you changed. I'm not sure I want to like deal with you anymore," to the point that I am like turning into someone else, which I feel very uncomfortable. So by maximizing it, meaning that if I'm the introvert person and feel much better to work the smaller crowd, use that way so that you can communicate to your team members in smaller setting, more intimate, build the credibility, build the bonds with your members and your friends and your coworkers. That actually can work better than trying to be someone else. So that will be my 2 cents.
Very good advice. Should we ask this question? I mean, $1 million in technology, really not a whole lot, would you say? This would be our last question. If you were given $1 million, what would you do with that today?
So I would have set up a small, I don't want to use the word venture capital firm. I mean, I want to set up a funds that can be used for any innovators who would like to try. So for example, you're right, $1 million is not much at all for the in technology overall context. But even 100,000 can get you really far on those innovator who has a concept but just want to prove it out that this works. It can happen. So if I have that, I would have probably put in a place where especially kids, other minorities, those immigrant folks just like myself, who has a lot of great concepts in their head, but the reality around themselves does not give you the access to these funds to try something new, whether successful or fail or not. We're gonna, have energy and ideas, but just cannot execute. I would love to help to get that moving. That's what I wanted to do towards the end. Hover down to 5 years or something.
That's wonderful. No, that's a great thing, and I love that. That's definitely very commendable. So, if anyone wants to get a hold of you, more questions, how can they reach you? LinkedIn, email you'd like to give?
Yeah, so LinkedIn, Joonho Lee, Jonho, parenthesis Juno, which everybody call me Juno. That's in LinkedIn. Email jlee@kbean.com or talisai.com.
Wonderful. So we really appreciate you being here. I enjoyed getting to know you and learning all about you. And Jay, do you have any other questions or anything you want to add?
No, thank you very much. It was a fun conversation.
That was great.
Let's stay in touch
See
continually.
ya. Okay.
One more thing for
Yes.
anyone else that have any questions, don't forget to follow us on all of our social media sites at Coffee Tech Talk, and that is on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn as well. And our website is coffeetechtalk.com. And with that said, our email is connect@coffeetechtalk.show. And with that said, we'll see you next time.
Okay. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Juno. Really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. Okay.
I appreciate it. Thank you for the opportunity.